don't think they should be taught anything at all. It's a serious family discussion and a topic that gets talked about around the dinner table, whether you want to be religious or not. And I really don't think it belongs in a state school, especially. Fair enough for people to send their children to Catholic schools and schools like that. It's got to be expected, I suppose. But I mean, in a state school, like I've got 2 kids in a state school, and I don't want them taught by someone I don't know.
And have they had religious education, instruction there, Chris?
They have done. I opted them out.
Was it easy?
Yeah. He just rang up and said he's not to go to that. I don't know who the person taking the course is. Admittedly, I don't know the teacher, but in this day and age of problems with religion, I just don't think it's appropriate. If I wanted my kids to learn about God and be religiously instructed, I'd take them to church.
And have you had the conversation around the dinner table yet?
I have with my children. I believe religion is a topic that you go into when you're an adult and you decide you want to believe in something. I don't think I should be forcing any of my views down their throats or anything like that. They shouldn't want to go to church because I make them go to church. I just don't think there's too much more they need to learn at school than learning about religion. I think it's with the problems that the school systems are facing these days, with kids not doing so well in some instances, there's far better things they can talk about.
And Chris, what have your kids said about it?
Oh, they both didn't want to go. They both brought home letters and said, Dad, I don't want to go to this. I said, I don't blame you, mate. Here's a letter.
Good one, Dad. All right, Chris.
And I was brought up in the Seventh-day Adventist church.
Oh, and so what happened at your school?
Oh, I went to the Seventh-day Adventist primary school. I didn't go to the Seventh-day Adventist high school, but in my school, when you went to religious instruction came about, whatever time it was of the day, once a week I think it was, all the kids went to whatever classroom for their denomination. So I went to the Seventh-day Adventist one. Some of my mates went to the Catholic, some went to the Anglican, and we all knew what building our denomination was in, I suppose.
And that was at a state school, Chris?
That was a state school, yes. We all went to whichever classroom our denomination had their lesson in for 40 minutes or however long it was.
Great to hear. Thanks very much, Chris.
Thanks, Emma. Have a good day.
You too. What do you think students should be taught at school about religion? Frank in Nambour, hello.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, I'd like to point out that the Australian Constitution is the law that governs the lawmakers throughout Australia. That's the federal and each state government. And I've got the Constitution in my hand right now, and I'm reading from it. Whereas the people of New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland and Tasmania, humbly relying on the blessing of Almighty God, and it goes on from there.
It could be a different God, though, couldn't it?
Prepared to take up an argument with me that is not the God of the Christian Bible.
Oh, is it?
I think they've got a problem. Now, that prepares Australia to be a Christian country, whether you attend church or whether you believe it or whatever you believe. I believe that every child before it is 15 years of age should be given lectures on how the Constitution works of Australia. The whole lot, not just that part. That's the opening part. And that some politicians like to call that the preamble. But it's part of the Constitution. It doesn't separate it from it. And the first words that it says is that everything it says after that relies upon the blessing of Almighty God. Well, I should think our children should be taught about the Almighty God that the Constitution does.
How old were you when you started?
Some other religion and learn about theirs too? Yes.
Yes, okay.
First and foremost, they should be taught about the Christian faith.
How old were you, Frank, when you started studying the Constitution?
I'm not quite hearing you. Try again.
How old were you when you started studying the Constitution, Frank?
I studied it at school I'm 82, and we used to be taught the Constitution, and they stopped teaching it after the Second World War, or shortly after the Second World War. The Constitution is probably, most people think it's about as big as the family Bible and need a lawyer to read it. It's got, let me look, I think it's got about 50 pages.
Yeah, it's not that
widely
big.
Spaced. It's about the size of a Reader's Digest, and It's quite simple to read. Any 15-year-old could understand it.
Okay. Frank, thank you very much for sharing your point of view this afternoon. Frank in Nambour, asking you about religious education in schools. What do you think children should be taught about religion in state schools? 1300 222 612 or text 0467 922 612. Connie in Caboolture has texted in saying Bible bashing should not be carried out in public schools. If parents want their kids to be taught religion, they should take them to church. Ricky at Kalanga, the Bible is not Cinderella or any other fairy tale. Michael in Brisbane City, the children should be taught how morally corrupt the churches are, that they should have ethics classes instead of religious instruction. Wendy says children should be taught a basic understanding of all religions. That is a religious education. What do you think? 1300 222 612 is the number. 3:30 on 612 ABC Brisbane News Headlines with Michael Bausch.